So just so that everybody knows kind of who's here from the Tower side. So my name's Mark Fletcher. I started Tower. We've got Tim and Justin here, who are two of our sales guys. Tim's currently based in Adelaide. Justin is based on the Gold Coast, and don't blame that on them. Just for context, leading into kind of what we're going to talk about, we've just been at a whole bunch of trade shows. We were just at the Gift Fair in Sydney. I was at the Money Fair in Berlin and Spring Fair in Birmingham, and then Christmas World in Frankfurt. And there were software companies at each of these trade shows. And I was just at the NRF, National Retail Federation conference in New York, and there are lots of software companies represented at these things. And at the New York event, there were about 200 software companies exhibiting, and all but one of them was really focusing on AI tools and how AI can help retailers run more efficient businesses. From a Tower point of view, we released our first AI tools back in 2022, and they've continued to be enhanced since then. And so, what we want to do today is to show you where we're at right now, the AI tools that are in the POS software right now. And just briefly before we do that, um, you know, there's a lot of noise about AI and about some saying it's great and some saying it's dangerous. Um, our focus in developing AI tools is to give you tools to try and help you save time, and tools that hopefully will help you see things in your business that you may be missing yourselves. And so through that, hopefully to help you save money. So we've got Luke Matheson here who's going to wave and say g'day. Luke is our software development manager. He's going to actually show you what's in the software today. So Luke, why don't you hop into it and share your screen so
Yep.
people can see what you're going to demonstrate. And you're going to start with the things that exist in the software right now. Um, and you're showing this based on your own set of test data.
Yes. Yep.
So why don't you tell us where you're at and what you're going to start with?
Rightio. So currently today, what we have in the software is the ability to expand on or create extended descriptions for existing products. So you might have, and I'll just pick up a particular item. So sea salt concentrate. What you were able to do is within the extended description, you can use the web description to create extended descriptions for your website. So in here, you can type in keywords if you want to include that in the AI generation. Otherwise, up the top, we've just got a straight AI generate AI. I don't know if this one's going to blow up because I wasn't expecting to do this one. It is. We've just made some significant changes, so I am running a test version of our next generation AI, and we've just done some enhancements to this. So yeah, it is going to blow up on that one. But what that would generally do is that'll actually create an extended description that you can use on your website side of things.
We'll get Tim or Justin to show that a bit later. So why don't you go on and actually show us something without blowing the software up?
The new stuff. Rightio. So really there's three key things that we've actually changed that we're changing in the AI space within retailer. The first one I'll touch on is our blog post side of things. So that you can quick and easily create content for stock items for your website, or blog posts for your website. What you can actually do is you can go to a new blog post. You can use an existing product within your system. I'm going to
It should
pick.
be right. Yeah.
What will we pick? I'll use my. I'm just going to use a. Yeah, we'll use this one here. So what we can do is we can actually change the blog, what the prompt's going to be, and then from there we can generate a blog post.
So
Um,
when you say change what the prompt's going to be, this is guidance you give the AI to say, I'm looking for a blog post that does this. And so you've got the prompt over there on the left, and it's going to generate the blog post here in the middle.
yes, correct. Yep. And so what it's done is it's turned around and generated as a title, what the content of the blog post is going to be about. We do have a publish date as well, so you can sort of queue these up, ready to rock and roll. And once you're ready, you can then go upload blog post, and that'll push it up to your website. So if there's any alterations that you would like to make in here, this is just a simple text editor, so you can just go in anywhere within here and start typing make any alterations that you'd like. Um, which yeah, and then once you're happy with it, you just go save and upload blog post, and that'll then go to your website, and then your website will observe the published date. So once it hits that date and time, it'll then be published on there.
So Luke, if we can jump here, just leave that on the screen. So Tim and Justin, you were demonstrating this at the Reed Gift Fair on the weekend. What was the reaction to retailers when you were showing this?
Yeah, yeah, look really, really positive. Yeah, it's just a huge time saver and a great way to kind of generate that SEO data.
And you were showing examples of like real products and people being able to generate these blog posts. People make any comments about kind of what the content would look like?
Oh, look, not really making any content. It's just like any comments, sorry. Look, it's I guess, one thing I would say is just fascinating what you can do with it. Like, in the little blurb on the side where you've got your text. I mean, even if you want it to have colors in the text or anything
Yeah.
like that, you can just put a note in there and it'll do that work for you rather than having to even highlight anything to change it. If you want to dress it up, you can do it just by giving it a couple of keywords.
And also, you could say to it how many words you want. You might want 450 words, so you can tell it to do that. And as Luke said, you can go and add your own. Like with this, I would personalize this and I'll put in the name of my business, the address, the phone number. I'd talk about how grateful I am to have the product, because that sort of positivity or gratefulness really reacts well within search engines. Um, all right, Luke, let's go on and you show the next thing, and then we'll come back and we'll open it up for questions. So show us the next
So
question.
Yeah, so the next thing that we've actually done as well is we've given some guidance around pricing. And I'm going to use something that most people are familiar with, a Coca-Cola 600 ml bottle. So at the moment in my system, I've got it in there with a cost of 275 and then a sell price of 550. So what we do have is we do have some AI pricing now. Now, what this does is this uses your local area, psychology on and demographics of the people in your area to guide you on what you should sell it for. So what it's done is it's given us three different sell prices for this particular item that we may want to adopt if we'd like to. It's saying a standard price at 395, a promo of 325, and 425 as a premium. Just to put that into context, so if we Google search my area where I am or where this has been, where the suburb is for where we're registered for, it's saying that Coles is selling it for $3.80, and the cheapest. So 325 is the actual real cheapest is that you're ever going to see, and 425 was the highest end on that side of things.
So the
So
idea, sorry, the idea of this then is I can look at that as a retailer and see where I sit and then where I might be able to get to if I see myself as a premium, convenience outlet. Therefore, I could charge a convenience premium if you like, or if I want to be in the promotional space, I can choose that.
Correct, correct. Look, so these are just preset things. So you can actually just say, yeah, I want to go with the standard. That'll update your retail price within the system. Otherwise, you still have the flexibility. You can go and override that should you wish to do so.
All right.
So you can do that from the stock screen and from the stock wizard when you're adding new products in.
Okay. So now you're going to show us how we can bring in pretty much any kind of PDF into the software, and the AI will read the PDF. So you click on AI import there.
Yep, so we've gone to AI import. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select an invoice. I am actually going to do something fairly substantial, just as a real good example. So this is a 3-page invoice with 100 line items on there. So basically, all we do is we just pick up the invoice and we get it to analyze. Now, what this does is this goes through, it looks at the invoice, it extracts all the data, and then it's going to go through. It's going to try to start matching those products with items that are in your system. So if there's barcode numbers, we will use the barcode number. If there's supplier stock codes, we go and try and match the supplier stock codes. It needs to have some point of reference for this to be really useful. So if you've got invoices that don't have any real reference points, it's not really going to be a time-saving event, but most of the invoices would have one of those key reference points.
Mhm.
Um, so depending on the size of the invoice will depend how long this takes.
Yep.
This is not too bad. This is actually being 3 pages, 100 line items. Um, it would normally take a retailer user, probably I would say around 45 minutes to actually manually key this in.
Yep.
Um, you've got to look that every item that you put in, that's at minimum of 4 keystrokes just to put each individual item. So it's over 400 keystrokes. Whereas the AI will do this in one foul swoop. So what it's done is it's brought in all of those items into a grid, so that way we can turn around and make alterations. It has matched 90% of this invoice up for us. You will see there are a couple of items here that it has not matched because they're obviously items that we've never had before. So what you can do is from this one screen, you will be able to add items quickly. You can scan a barcode in there, you can link it up, or you can generate barcodes for products. Um, and then you can just add those in as items as you need to. If there are any issues with the AI checking this, you can make alterations within the grid, change your department markups. You can even change your retail prices all within the grid. Um, as you can see, it has, because of this instance, on this particular invoice, it has got the freight as a line item. So it has actually popped that at the bottom. What I am going to do is I can actually delete the freight off and I can pop the freight back in there so it's not in there as a standard stock item. But as you can see, the AI today has identified that our totals match. So once we're happy with that, all we do is we go save to arrival. So when we do go save to arrival, there are, I've already done this invoice before. I'm just going to cheat just so we can, for the purposes of our test. So when we do go save to arrival, it does give us the option to do an EDI arrival. Now, there is a caveat on this. If there's any customer orders, we'll loop through each particular item and want to prompt to allocate those to customer orders or any multi-store orders. Otherwise, if there are no orders, we can do an instant arrival. What that does is that just will speed up the arrival process. It just updates all the quantity on hands, queues up labels as required, and then it's all finished.
So, Luke, you've given us an example there with one supplier.
Yep.
In your testing and the testing that the team has done on this, how many different supplier invoices would you have tested this against?
A lot. A lot.
100?
Easy, easy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And these are across a whole range of different retail
A lot
marketplaces.
of different businesses, yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. All right. What else can you show us that retailer does today from an AI perspective?
That is all I can think of at the moment.
So
My
if you
focus
stop,
has been on our key products,
if
our
you
key
stop sharing
categories.
your screen, and we're
Yep.
going to jump to Tim if we can. So, Tim, can you show us about the example that Luke failed to show us in terms of generating a product description?
Oh, look, I can give it a
Oh,
crack.
fuck it.
Obviously, you're putting me on the spot a bit, so this relies on mine working okay for me, but I'll give it a shot. So yeah, look, what Luke was talking about was the AI extended descriptions in Retailer. So you can just jump into the stock screen for a product. I've got a scan pan roasting lid here, and I've got extra details across the top. So this top box is what will print on the customer's receipt as extra info. The bottom one is your extended web description.
Yep.
And you can simply click in here. And if I wanted to, I could really quick and easy, don't have to put anything else in. I can just simply go generate AI, and that'll
Yep.
just use the data that it has in Retailer for it. Expanding on what Luke said before, though, you can also do some cool things. Any notes you put in here will affect what it puts into that. So, it could be even how you want it to write it. So I could say, write as John McClane from Die Hard, and it will use that and it will customize the text it uses to suit, what he may say. So yeah, it's fascinating. You can, yeah, kind of play around with it and have some fun with it and yeah, help your descriptions.
And so, what besides generating that, are you able to use AI to generate anything else relating to the product?
Look, I mean, I would say Luke kind of touched on these before. Like, you can certainly do the pricing
Yep.
information, but you've also got barcode lookup in the
Yep.
system. So if you're trying to get your data ready for e-commerce or even just updating it, I can hit barcode lookup here, and this will check an online database to see if it can find any extra information on it. So this has found some text in there that it should put on there as that extended description. So I can apply that. I'll hit cancel on that because I don't want to change mine, but that will also check to see if it can find any images on it, any weight information, and even any extra fields as well.
Okay.
And that can, yeah, update your data through that process.
All right. Justin, you're here as well. Is there anything else you would add when you're demonstrating the AI tools in the software today? Justin's, he's blanked us. Okay.
It has.
All right. So Luke and Tim, what else would you add about AI in retailer today?
Well, it's purely there to make life easier. So make you more productive within the business. Um, it should be looked at as a tool that you can actually use.
Tim, have you got the Insights dashboard that you can show people?
Let me check.
So with the Insights dashboard, we're using um, useful predictive information like, what's working, what's not working, what am I missing out on, is theft an issue? And it's taking data from your business to answer those key business questions from within the software as well. And we would argue that that's using from within the broader concept of AI, AI-related tools. All of this AI stuff stays within your business. You're not sharing your business data externally with others. That's fair to say, isn't it, Luke?
Yep.
Um, is there anything else you want to add about kind of this stuff you've just demonstrated about bringing in supplier invoices and doing the price comparison? That's in the next release that's literally about to go out.
Yeah, it'll be going out to beta sites probably in the next week or two. We're just finalising a few. There's been the thing is with AI, it is an evolving space.
Yeah,
They are continually improving things, and what they do today is miles ahead what was happening just even 6 months ago.
yep,
So what we started with our AI toys that we're implementing today, we've fine tuned them further in the last sort of month or two with what they've recently released. So you're going
yeah.
to have the latest and greatest.
And
So if you think about things like, for example, the importing of invoices, um, even 6 months ago, you weren't able to kind of achieve what you're achieving today.
No, no, no. That's it's made some mark improvements from when we initially started on this journey.
So the whole idea of getting electronic files from suppliers is sort of out the door
Null
now. We
void.
just don't need that.
No, no. That's been the biggest challenge I think in retail is getting the suppliers on board to support smaller retailers with a format that they can use and import. PDF is so common out there with our suppliers. Is everyone does it usually a PDF invoice, but getting it into a data structure that a system can import has been a real challenge for small business retailers. So with these new tools, that should really make life a lot easier and take that issue out of the equation.
Yep. Okay. Tim, quickly, were you able to?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I've got now it was Visual Deck you wanted, sorry,
Sorry, the
Insights
Insights
dashboard.
dashboard. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But
I've
this
got
is
it
in
here.
the software today. And so any of our customers today can click on the Insights dashboard. As Tim's showing there, that's the tab of where we're at today. So we can very quickly see how the business is performing. We can see what's not selling, and it will tell us instantly what's not selling. We can click on what am I missing out on, and that really is about um, items that you absolutely could sell uh, that you don't have in stock or you haven't had in stock when you would have liked to have sold it. What sells with what helps you understand what's working, whether theft is an issue. We look at the data within your business and we try and provide some guidance on whether theft may be an issue. And then when we're busiest and quietest is just simply understanding what are the busy times and the quiet times. And we're finding in retail sometimes that's not quite what you think. So this insights dashboard is in the software today, and that's using some of these tools that we're talking about.
Yeah, it's just a quick snapshot view of kind of where you're at. And you got various toggles on those screens as well. So when you look at what's not selling, you can customize whether it's just this month, whether it's over the last 2 years. So you can, as Mark said, identify where your kind of dead stock is.
Okay. All right. If you get out of that, let's see what questions people have so we can go in and answer specific questions. If you want to ask a question, you'll need to just unmute yourself and do that, or you can ask questions by chat if you'd prefer to do that.
Hi, it's Megan from Lumpies.
Yeah.
Regarding the importing of the PDFs, so a lot of our nurseries that we buy plants off have no barcode or stock code, so we wouldn't be able to use them. There's no way of getting around that unless they can
It's not going to be as efficient is probably the best way. So it will identify all of the products, but they'll be all as unknown. So you have to go in line by line and link them to individual items.
Yeah.
That's the real catch. The catch with that side of things.
Yeah.
One thing you could do though is have you looked at Evergreen Connect?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, is that going to be linked in some way?
Well, we already connect with Evergreen Connect with orders and then bring the invoices in as well.
Yeah.
So
we do a lot with them, so we will be able to use that.
Definitely have a chat with Matt at Evergreen Connect and get connected in on that side of things because I think that'll be a big game changer for you. It's leveraging off the same technology where you can alter the items on the grid as well, so you can link it to existing items or add products in.
Okay.
Do you want me to show that quickly, Luke?
If you want, yeah.
Yeah, look, it's really easy with Evergreen Connect. So you can just, if I share my screen again, you should be able to see that. It works via orders maintenance in retailer. So you can jump into orders maintenance where you might compile an order for a supplier. You won't have compiled it for Evergreen Connect because it will have been done through their platform, but then you can simply go import order at the top here. Mine might take a second and I can go Evergreen Connect and import, and that'll pull that information back into this grid. So you can then, follow it through the process from there.
Okay.
Okay.
That will be that's automated as well. So that's a manual method, but otherwise it will check every hour. Once you've got the connection set up, it checks every hour if there's any new orders from Evergreen Connect.
Okay.
We have a question from Janelle asking if they still need to import data from Exchange IT. That's a newsagent related question. So Janelle, you'll have to do that because the way the suppliers to that channel want your data to come through is through Exchange IT. So that will happen. So Luke, I don't know if you see the questions there. So Jeremy's asked about how do price suggestions work in the case where there's little or no local product competition?
On that side of things, the AI will give recommendations based on the psychology and the spendage in that area.
Yep. With supplier inputs, are columns automatically matched for each invoice?
So what it will do is it will try to match up the supplier stock code and the barcode. It'll use the data that's for those items in your system. Otherwise, it'll add the descriptions in as it needs to. We do have the provision for basically assigning the departments and categories within the grid. Costs and sell prices, it matches automatically.
Okay. And Jeremy's also asking about the LLM the AI is built on. So let's talk a little bit about the technology that is sitting behind this. So where we started and where we're at today is different in terms of our integration. So first of all, let's talk about the AI platforms we integrate with today.
Yep. So we currently, with the new version, today we integrate with ChatGPT only. In the next release that's coming out in the next week or two, which is all the invoice arrivals work here, we will support ChatGPT or OpenAI as well as Google and Google Gemini. you must have an account with one of those or both of those, and you will be able to determine what AI tool you're going to use for what section of the software. So you can already define that in this version, um, and then you can actually pick which particular model you're actually using on that
So
side
to
as
that
well.
question about the LLM, for example, for the price comparison, the answer to that really is going to be Gemini or GPT, depending on which account you've set up.
Which account you're with and which model you're actually using as
Okay,
well. Yeah.
cool. And is the information that I'm sharing therefore helping other retailers and the research they might be doing out there?
Look, once you've set your account up with ChatGPT or Google Gemini, um, it really depends because on your account you can actually specify that this data cannot be used for training other models.
Yep.
Google does have a free model, and they force you, if you do use their free model, they force you to actually train their new models. I'd highly recommend against that. I'd recommend going for the paid version, and that
Yeah.
way you can select not to train their models.
Okay.
That way you're keeping your data secure.
And
Uh,
on a paid version, Luke, what do you estimate a retailer would spend?
It's not much at all. So I can tell you now that um, that invoice I just did with 100 line items, I think off memory, it ended up costing us 11 cents
yep.
to actually do that invoice from start to finish.
Um, so, uh, do you have any plans to use AI on predictive prescriptive purchasing? I'll answer that, Ian. It's a good question. So we do have plans. What we're showing today is what exists today. What we're playing with here in the office, which we'd love to show you and can't, is a pretty significant leap forward. Um, but and there's a big but here, to be transparent with you. Um, so there's a process we have to go through to get approval to release AI-related functionality, and that process involves, legal considerations and a whole bunch of other factors. And so, what we're working on today does take you more into that predictive and prescriptive space. And we are hopeful that we'll be in a position to include that in an update sometime this year. But we've got to get approval to do what we're doing. So the only way we can go about getting approval is you build it, fine tune it, demonstrate it, and then request approval. And that's what we're doing right now. We think that if I put my retailer hat on, I own a couple of stores, I own some online businesses. From a retailer point of view, I want the AI model to tell me what I'm not seeing. I want it to tell me if I'm about to make a bad decision. So if I, for example, am placing an order for a product, it should be tapping me on the shoulder and saying, why are you doing that? Because that product hasn't worked each time you brought it in before. Or I want it to say, you know, you should be doing this thing over here because that's a problem in your business right now because it sees stuff that I'm not seeing. And that's where I want AI to really be smart for me. I love the time saving stuff. I think that's great, but I want it to help me see what I'm missing out as a retailer because ultimately my retail business has got to be as profitable as it can be. And if the AI, from an agent perspective, has the capacity to be that business partner without a profit share, then I think the AI can be a lot smarter in what it can do within the business. So that's where we'd like to get to. But there's some work we have to do in relation to that. Now, Matthew had asked a question, but I can't see it there in the chat. So, who else has questions they'd like to ask?
Question, please.
Yeah.
Hi, I work in the bicycle industry. A few years ago, I used the barcode lookup and found that the descriptions that you were given sometimes weren't even what the item was. So I gave up pretty quickly, I must admit, with that. So at the moment, if I'm going to put in extra details and put my description in, I'll be going to the supplier's website to get the specifications, because it's very important that we put the right information on there. So if you're going to use the AI, are you saying that the AI is going to pick up like the specifications, for instance, for a bicycle? Is it, or is the AI more about blurbing it out a little bit, so to speak?
So it depends on, okay, so there's two elements here. One is whether or not, so the barcode lookup will fill out the description for the item. So that's one element, and that comes from a database with, I think it's something like 500,000, how many products were on that database that we
Over
looked
a
at?
billion, Luke.
Yeah, it's consistently growing.
But
And
to
that's
Barbara's point, Luke, to Barbara's point, that database has only got data that people have submitted. And so it's possible that sometimes the data will be incorrect, although most times it won't be, but sometimes it could be.
correct. But with regards to it generating a extended description, that'll be based on the description that you have internally within the software. So if you've got and any key notes that you put on to into that generative AI text, it will turn around and make a description that's engaging for the person that's reading it.
So
Okay.
I would first need to put the specifications in there. Is that what you're saying? Sorry?
Yes, if you want it to do the extended description side of things, it will make a like an SEO description based on the information that you've input.
Right. Okay. So that's probably a little bit of my misunderstanding. Thank you.
Yeah, it needs to have some sort of data. It won't just go and pull information automatically.
Right. That's what I thought it was going to do. So thank you very much. I'm glad I know that.
Okay, other questions? No? Justin, for you, what sort of questions
Yeah.
are you getting from people who are looking at the AI tools?
To be honest, I mean, we only demonstrated at the gift fair last week. Wasn't really too many questions. It was more just feedback, particularly around the blog post stuff. Like a lot of people I spoke to, didn't do stock item blog posts or anything, but as soon as they saw that tool, they were, super keen to get stuck into it. So not really not really questions. It was more just feedback.
Yep. Luke, are you happy for anybody who wonders about a PDF invoice if they send it to support and we can check it for them to see if it's going to load okay?
Look, that's no drama. Yeah, we did actually we sent out something before Christmas asking for people to send in any of their complex invoices, and that's been used for some of our testing. But yeah, if anyone's got any concerns, they can definitely send them through, and we can run it through.
Okay. What would you say to somebody, Luke, Tim, and Justin? What would you say to somebody who, is hearing some of the stories? Because the whole question about AI is a hot topic right now. There are negative stories out there. There are positive stories. What if somebody's nervous about it and they're like, look, I don't think it's safe enough for me to use yet. What would you say in relation to what we're doing today?
Look, AI's been around. AI is really just a term. It's been out for quite a while, and it's been in everyday technology, but people just haven't really realised it. You just got to look when you jump on your phone and you start typing in an address into Google. That's effectively using an element of AI. That's doing the predictive address side of things. What is really being realized now is that it's given people the ability to ask their own questions and get it to generate responses based on those questions. So it's though it seems new, it's not new technology.
Yep.
So it's not something to be feared of on that side of things. It's really a tool that should be used to make life easier.
And it's fair to say that the value of what you're getting from it often relates to the prompt that you give it.
Yes, there's been we've done significant work on our prompts and to get the information back in a way that we can use, and it's going to be meaningful and it is going to make sense, not just to our software, but then when we display it to you as the user.
And also basic things like using local spelling rather than American spelling.
Yes, correct. Yeah, because that changes everything. You'd think the models that are out in the wild now don't have any concept that you're an Australian or you want it in this written in this particular way. So by telling the model that's what it needs to interpret this as and to respond in, that does change the way that it operates.
And for clarity for people, how much of the programming of retailer is generated by AI?
The programming, not the programming is not generated by retailer. That's all in house. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got humans who are writing the code.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, that was the point I was trying to get to. Okay, any questions, comments, or feedback people have on anything related to AI?
Barbara just asked a question. Should the generate AI button be there now? You may need to put in an API code to set it up.
And be on the advanced version, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't have it, just put a call into the help desk guys and we can work through it.
Okay.
It's Megan from Lumpies again.
Yeah.
So when we put that, because I do most of the invoices down in the office in the nursery, and so when I put them in normally, I sort of there's the little box at the side which gives me an idea of the percentage that I'm putting on everything, and I go through and I do it all, and I also watch stock of hand because our stock of hand is often out, so I will adjust that. So am I going to be able to do all that with the new system? Like, will I be able to see that, or I'll have to then go back and check on those sorts of details?
So on that, once it's analysed the invoice, it'll actually show you whether or not there's been an increase or decrease on that item's cost and sell on that side of things. In regards to seeing that the details box, it doesn't actually show it on that form at this stage. You will be able to, after you do so the whole purpose of that instant arrival and doing it immediately is just to bring that invoice in really quickly. You will be able to still go in and alter the items in the invoice arrival screen like you would have previously. But the whole idea is that we shouldn't need to do it within that main arrival form.
Okay, all good.
All right. Any other questions that anybody has?
Hi, Jane from Roach Style Produce.
Yeah.
So just so I understand, in that bit where you're generating the web description, so to get it to say what you want, you'd say I want the usage, what the product is for, the usage rate, or what you use the product on. Is that what you mean by guidance for the product for the AI to generate?
You can just kind of type in
share
whatever.
Your screen. Let's go back in there and let's show the answer with you sharing the screen.
And look, while we were going through stuff, I kind of mocked this up based on Barbara's question. She asked about a bike and having the specs in there. So I just quickly grabbed the description of a bike and I've added it in. If I go to extra details, I can click in web description here. And if I wanted this to include a story and also the specs, I can type that in and then hit generate, and it'll use this as the guideline for what it writes. Now, I could go deeper and give it more info on how I want it to lay it out and things like that, but I'm just going to do it quickly. So generate AI, and that will hopefully hit the mark on it. I tried it with just specs a second ago. Yeah, and there you can see it's got, some information at the top, and then it goes in to have all of its specifications at the bottom.
Who's Emma, Tim?
Where are you seeing Emma?
Well, who's Emma, and does your wife Kim know about Emma?
Well, I just said, tell me a story. So yeah, there you go. You can use it to write whatever you want.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe leave Emma out of it, but
Emma's got a lot to say. So does that answer the earlier question, though?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Good. Excellent. All right. Any other questions that people have? Otherwise, we'll say goodbye and move on.
Yes, Mark, it's Ian and Fiona from the Mullumbimby Rural Cooperative. Just before I ask my question, you've to be commended for having this session. Absolutely brilliant. It just shows the kind of forward-thinking nature that Towers has.
Thank you.
So thank you very much to you and your team for that. Really good. Well done.
Thank you.
The question I had, it maybe takes a little bit of a step backwards, but when you talked about the invoice importing into the system, does that then link with the related purchase order that would be in the system?
So what it'll do is it will go back and link to the order. What it actually will need to do is it won't do the instant arrival process. It'll then it'll drop back into what we call an EDI arrival. So I don't know, like what you see now with the normal orders arrival, it'll sit there and it'll loop through each one of the products, but it'll have all those details there.
Yeah,
it does the same thing for if there's any customer orders, because it's going to need user intervention at that point.
brilliant. All right, thanks.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Ian, can I ask whereabouts in Scotland you're from? Because I was just in Edinburgh for the first time ever, and I was blown away by it's such a wonderful city, so welcoming, and it was just fantastic.
That's what we would call my home tune.
Ah,
So
there
I'm
you go.
glad you enjoyed yourself. I'm from Edinburgh.
So I had haggis there for the first time, and I enjoyed it immensely.
Good. It is
Yeah.
good. A delicacy.
It is. But the thing about Edinburgh that surprised me, I was there looking at retail, and the quality of retail in Edinburgh was mind-blowing. I think probably because there are so many tourists that go through, but I was looking at it from a gift and homewares retailing point of view, and it was absolutely fascinating to see.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions from anybody at all?
Just on Barb's comment in the chat, no, it doesn't have to be on the single top line. You can do multiple lines for the AI additional notes.
Okay. And Luke, just to clarify, the three things you're demonstrating, the price comparison, the blog post generation, and the importing of supplier invoices, that's in the update that you say is about a week or so before we get it out into beta release.
Into our beta sites. Yep. And then so they'll start playing with that. They'll have access to that technology, and then hopefully it won't be too far after that.
Excellent.
Release broadly.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.